And we're live. Hello. Hello, my name is Cindy, and thank you for coming to my channel. And this is a live video that I come on every Saturday morning right after my Vipkid classes. And it is now 8:15 a.m. on Saturday. So yeah, what you see on my screen is a little bit of my fun that I had today. My last two classes were the salad trials. Okay, so if you're watching this and you're a Vipkid teacher, you know what I'm talking about. And if you're not, this is the Vipkid has different classes that kids will take so that they will just try out the platform, and Vipkid allows them to take a free trial class and they just try it out. And one of them is making salad, which is kind of interesting, but that's the lesson. And I'm using ManyCam with my computer right now. And so what I do is I had earlier in the lessons that I had 5 classes today. I had like a little birthday party in one of my classes. And so I used my birthday border. And then for my the last 2 classes, I did the salad unit. So I gave them salad and a hamburger and different things on the side. So we had a lot of fun. So what I did was I first started with I gave them a salad. And then I gave them, I surprised them on the 4th one and gave them a hot dog and then a hamburger. And at the end of that unit, there's also, you can build a burger at the very end. So, and this is ManyCam. I could change the borders really easily, which I really enjoy. And so I could do the letters. I could do a little party like this. I can easily switch them on and off. I can do my flowers. I really like this one for the spring. And I could do cars and all kinds of borders. If you're interested in help on how to do that, you could. There are a lot of teachers that talk about ManyCam. You could reach out to me and ask, you do need to make sure that you have, I don't want to delete that effect. You have to have the right specifications for your computer. And so that's why I got an updated computer so that I could do all the fun stuff. So Rebecca is jumping in for a moment. Thank you, Rebecca. And she had 4 trials and they all showed up. I'm so tired, so I'm going back to bed. Good for you. Yeah, so what happened to me was I had them all booked up, and then 2 of my regular students canceled, and so they filled in with trials, which is great. And sometimes the trials don't actually fill in. So if you are there and it's supposed to be a trial, then you sit there and then you have to wait 15 minutes and then you can go, but then you only get half pay. So it's better if they show up, but sometimes they don't always show up. And Laura J., thank you for coming. All my trials lately have been banana, peach, kiwi, and mango. That's another fun one. So my first salad trial, the girl finished really early. So I was like, okay, now what do I do? So she was older. She was able to do the word search. They have a couple of extension slides, but we even had to go further than that. And I had to break out the whiteboard and we actually drew a salad. And then we talked about the different parts of the salad. So I did a lot of extension on the first trial I had today. And she was an older girl. She finished quickly. And then when I went into the next trial, I was shocked because this kid was only 6 years old and his mom sat right there and she was sort of helping him along. But she had another little one I could tell in the background. And when she left, he kind of relaxed a little bit and I was able to feel him out. And at 6 years old, he was speaking very good English. He could read and everything. So he did a great job with that lesson. And that was just perfect timing for him. We didn't have a lot of extra time, which it's not really good if you have too much extra time, because then you feel like you rushed through the class, and then you feel like, I hope the parent likes my extension and all that. So I was a little nervous when I had too much time on that first trial. So the second time I kind of spaced it out a little bit. But he was an excellent student. Both of them were great. All of my classes were very good today. I had a level 7 first today, and then I had a girl that I had never taught before for a lesson, a regular lesson, and then I had 2 trial classes this morning. So it was a busy morning. And then I have Sundays off. I've decided to take Sundays off. I've kind of been back and forth a little bit. A couple weeks ago, I taught on a Sunday, and I was like, I really need a day off. So I have a day off tomorrow. I am also quitting my Friday nights and my Saturday night classes. I like doing them. I don't mind doing them. It's just by the time it's time for class, I feel really tired and like, I really don't want to do this. And I don't want to get into a situation where I'm doing classes that I don't want to do, because if your heart isn't in it, you're going to end up with maybe a bad review, or, you're just going to burn yourself out. So that's what I'm doing. So every morning for classes, I do 4 to 5, sometimes 6. And that's all I'm going to do. I'm still working on my OUTSCHOOL, and that's going well. So every month I've increased my pay, but I haven't like gone gangbusters like some people, like Rebecca. So I'm not at the point where my classes fill up quickly, but I am every single month. I've been creeping up for my income for OUTSCHOOL. So that's been great. And I really enjoy my classes with OUTSCHOOL. So I just wanted to remind everyone that it's daylight savings, and we're going to spring forward. So that means that at 2 a.m., March 14th, that we will lose an hour because we put our clocks forward. We're springing forward. I'm on the East Coast, and I guess it's a little easier now, right? Because with all the electronics, everything kind of sets itself. So it's a little harder to make that mistake of not doing the clock. Except for my stove, like I still have the clock on the stove that we go by. Hello, Lisa. Thank you for coming. So it's spring forward, and I just wanted to read a little something from the Washington Post, a little FYI about it. Oh, so it says, after a long dark winter, our noticeably sunnier evenings are about to turn even brighter. At 2 a.m. Sunday, the clocks will spring forward 1 hour as we return to daylight savings time. The time shift means we lose an hour of sleep, but in exchange, we'll enjoy more evening light for the next 8 months until we fall back to standard time again in early November. I always wonder if is it daylight savings time right now, or is it standard time? So I guess we will be in daylight savings time, and in the fall, we'll go back to standard time. But what if we advance the clock this weekend and never had to turn them back? The idea is gaining some traction after a bipartisan group of U.S. senators this week reintroduced a bill that would eliminate standard time and keep daylight saving time year-round. The Sunshine Protection Act, proposed by Senator Marco Rubio of Florida, along with 4 Republican and 3 Democratic senators, says we should ditch standard time. We should ditch standard time since we only use it 4 months of the year, from November to March. The call to end the antiquated practice of clock changing is gaining momentum throughout the nation, Rubio said in a statement. I know a lot of people who really hate daylight savings time. Hello, Jason. Yeah, I know a lot of people complain about it, especially with kids. In my little world, it never really bothered me. It seemed like I don't really like losing an hour, but my kids seem to adjust. It's really weird, but my kids never really had a problem with it. Like, they never really knew the time change, but it seemed like their body clock adjusted easily. So I didn't really have a problem with that. It seemed like whenever we needed to set the clocks, like last night, they were going to bed really late. So let's see. yeah, so they'll be going to bed, like say they go to bed at 10, it's going to be 11 on the clock, but their body thinks it's 10. So they'll actually be doing better for them. I don't know. It's weird. I never really had a problem with it, but I know a lot of people, especially kids, people with special needs and stuff, had a problem with it. I know, like for church, it's always on a Sunday. So there's always one day out of the year people are early and one day out of the year people are late. So they always say, on the time change Sunday, just have coffee and extra donuts because it's going to be a hard day for everyone. So let's see. So I didn't know they were trying to pass a bill, though. That's cool. So here we go. Florida state legislature passed its own version of the bill in 2018, as have 15 other states, including California, Oregon, Tennessee, and Maine. Individual states, however, aren't permitted to change their daylight saving time schedules without federal approval. Interesting, from the Department of Transportation, which means an act of Congress would be required. The United States first introduced daylight savings time in 1918, 2 years after Germany and the other European countries started advancing the clocks to conserve fuel and energy during World War I. Congress abolished the practice after the war, and it was not used again nationwide until President Franklin D. Roosevelt introduced year-round daylight saving time during World War II from 1942 to 1945. The United States also experimented with year-round daylight saving time during 70s energy crisis from 74 to 75. The dark winter mornings were not too popular, however, and ever since we've switched the clocks back to standard time during the winter months. Okay, so they want to be perpetual daylight savings rather than perpetual standard. So I love seeing the people who showed up an hour late for church on the spring forward. Kathy Kelly, I am signed up for Go-Go Kid, but I haven't really taught very many classes. Since 2007, daylight saving time has begun on the second Sunday in March and ended on the first Sunday in November. Hawaii and Arizona are the only two states that do not observe daylight savings time. So good for you guys. Holding out, being different. Critics of our current daylight savings time schedule argue that changing the clock twice a year disrupts sleep schedule, increases car accidents, as well as the risk of heart attacks, seasonal depression, and other health issues. Using daylight saving time year-round, as Rubio and others are advocating, would improve our society's health, as we wouldn't have to adjust our clocks and sleep schedules. More evening light during the winter months would also give people extra time to exercise outdoors after work, as well as benefit the economy. Springing forward and falling back year after year only creates unnecessary confusion while harming Americans' health and our economy. I don't really appreciate them using the health card, because if they want to help our health, there's other things they could do. That's not really the primary goal of it's a good little thing to put in there, but I don't think they care that much about our health. Sorry to have to say that, but anyway, interesting that some states have daylight and others do not. Yeah. So making daylight savings permanent would give folks an hour back of sunshine during the winter months when we need it the most, said Ron Whitten of Oregon said in a statement. The year-round daylight saving time proposal seems to have gained traction after Americans endured an especially long, dark winter marked by the coronavirus. Really? The coronavirus pandemic? What is that? Just kidding. In a year that feels like it's been in complete darkness, Senator Rubio and I have provided a solution to provide more sunlight by making daylight saving time permanent. All right, interesting. The only problem is that making daylight saving time permanent doesn't actually provide more sunlight. A summary of the legislation widely makes this disclaimer. because of the Earth's tilt, the sun spends less time with the horizon during the winter, which means we have shorter daylight hours. Year-round daylight saving time would only shift daylight from the morning to the evening, meaning the sun would rise. I think we all know that, right? The sun isn't going to change just because we changed the clock. That makes sense. Okay, so anyway, many parents and teachers oppose the idea of darker winter mornings, which could put children's safety at risk. That was the thing that I remember why they did it. They said because kids were getting hurt in the mornings. Well, those were the days where kids went out. They left their house, they walked to the school bus by themselves. I don't know if they do that anymore. Most parents go with their kids now. Of course, many northern states like North Dakota or Michigan already put up with late post 8 a.m. winter sunrises. Okay, so there you go. Interesting. So you can look into that. Some states don't have much sunlight in the winter regardless of the time. That's true. Interesting. Yeah. So doesn't matter what time. It just matters like when we want the daylight, when we don't, how it's all going to work out. Where I live, I don't think it matters a ton. Like in the mornings, it is definitely darker when the kids have to, if we didn't fix the clocks, it would definitely be darker in the mornings for the kids, for the buses. So that was the reason why I remember when I was a kid, why they always said we needed it. It was for the kids, for the buses, and kids actually did get hurt back then. But we might have more access to lights and reflective gear, and buses have more lights on them, and we have more precautions. So I don't know if that's a thing anymore. I kind of like it if you have light in the afternoon because, hey, the kids could come home from school. They have more time to do things in the afternoon and it doesn't get dark as early. I feel like when it gets dark early, everybody kind of shuts down earlier and you feel like it's later. So I wouldn't mind starting out when it's dark and then having it light later. So I guess it wouldn't bother me if they did say, hey, we're getting rid of this program. But maybe they should do, I don't know, because this is the chance that in the falls when we get the extra hour. I guess it really doesn't matter. But anyway, just so you know, it's coming up. It's coming up. Okay, so at the beginning of the video, I talked about Vipkid. Things are going well there. I haven't lost any bookings. I know some people are like saying they've lost bookings, things have happened, that things aren't going well for them with the company. Everything seems normal with me. My kids have gone, like I have some regulars, but I seem to have had a lot of new students lately. And some of my regulars aren't booking. I don't know if they're not booking or if they're just not taking classes or what's going on. But it seems like I have had a lot of newer students lately. Like I said, I had 2 cancellations today. So I had some trial classes. So I've been doing a few trial classes. And so that's been fine. It seems like when I open classes, I get as many as I want or need. So I'm not complaining in any way. But I also have seen a lot of new companies going up. So if you watch Online Teacher Dude, he has a lot of good suggestions for new companies. There's another teacher Lexi. She is introducing a lot of new companies as well. So if you really are in a pinch and you want to try something new, there's a lot of new stuff coming out and a lot of new companies that you can check into. I have signed up for GoGoKid, but I make enough money with Vipkid that I don't need to do GoGoKid. I kind of did that as a second company just in case. And so far, I have taught a few classes for them and I really liked it. I would definitely teach for GoGoKid if something happened with Vipkid, totally. If you want to talk to me more about it, I can refer people to GoGoKid, and I would love to. If somebody wants some coaching for GoGoKid, I would definitely like to do that for you. So you can message me privately or put a note below. But right now I'm not really teaching a lot with GoGo Kid, but I have kept my eye out to watch all the new companies. And if anybody wants to do something else, there are definitely plenty of choices. And I have been teaching with OUTSCHOOL and I really love it. So with OUTSCHOOL, I am still teaching. I'm going to write in my little box here. I'm going to write down what I'm teaching for OUTSCHOOL. I really love it. I love the classes. I love the kids. The thing that I really like is that the kids are going to take what they want to take. So I have some knitting classes. I have like finger knitting and I have regular knitting. I have beginners. I have a group of girls that is like a continuing group, like a social group. So that's been really fun. And what I did with OUTSCHOOL was I wasn't getting them completely booked. So I put out different times. So this past week, hello, Luann. This past week, I kind of consolidated some of the groups so that I can, instead of teaching one student here and there, I can ask everybody to meet at a certain class. So for knitting, I consolidated some classes. So that's been really great. I also teach making bread. So we make like a loaf of white bread. We learn how to knead it and everything. And then we make other recipes. And so I have ongoing classes for these. I make white bread, cinnamon rolls. And I do give the kids choices of what they might want to make. And I tell them some choices and then they can tell me what they want to make. We've made a pepperoni and cheese bread, babka bread. Next week, we're going to make scones. So that should be good. That's kind of like a biscuit type recipe. So I do have a bread making class. I have a first grade math class. I have one that's once a week and I have one that is twice a week. And that's been really great. I do have Evelyn Joy's daughter in one of those classes. So that's been really fun. And I also have a piano class I just started. So this is like a 1 month piano introduction. And so I made this a multi-day class. So what I do is I do 1 day is a lesson, 2 days are practice lessons. And so that's just a 1 month introductory class. And if they want to continue, then I will continue with them. But it's just kind of like a one-time get your feet wet class. If you want to keep going, we'll keep going. So I just kind of made it a 1 month multi-class. I feel like having a rotation of new students into your schedule is a good way to keep your bookings more stable and healthy with Vipkid. Yeah, I agree. And I'm fine with it. Like I've learned at the beginning of my career with Vipkid, I was like, I want to keep these students. They're mine. I love them. But then I realized that, the kids are going to come and go and we kind of have to just accept it. And so that's what I have to do with OUTSCHOOL too, because I'm kind of getting attached to these kids. And so my knitting classes are continuing, my bread class, there's only so much bread you can make, right? Every week we make different bread. The last class I made with babka bread, I actually made a video, and instead of making it myself, I just showed kind of the video next to me, and I was making it, but it was just in the video. And so then that way I didn't have to have all this extra bread because there's only so much bread my family's going to eat, and I could wrap it up and put it in the freezer, but that doesn't always get eaten either. I could give it away too, but it's the ingredients and everything. And I won't do that every time, but sometimes that's a good option. And so I'm really enjoying OUTSCHOOL. It's been a lot of fun. And I'm hoping to put out some more classes. I would like to kind of streamline my classes. I think for math, I want to do the different grades. And so but I don't want to do a whole bunch of small classes. I'd like to get to the point where my classes are full and I only do like a certain number with a certain number of students. Because the point is I want to kind of streamline it so that I'm not like teaching all day for actually in some of my classes, I make less with OUTSCHOOL than I do with Vipkid. But I'm just kind of doing that in order to build up my experience with them. So I like getting new to me students. It keeps me from getting too comfortable. That is true. That is very true. And with Vipkid, you know, some students, they come in and they go right along with everything. And some students are a little more difficult. And so you do have to kind of keep fresh on your skills on how to manage those things. But if you have the same student all along, that's difficult too, because you have to keep it interesting. And sometimes you can get into a, you know, a rut of things. Have you had students sign up for your piano classes? I actually have one class with 3 students, and I have one class with 1 student. So that's perfect for me because it's my first time. It's a little curve here teaching piano online. And so it's just good for me to kind of get in there, figure it all out, figure out what's going to work, get some experience. And so I'm really happy with that. I kind of planned on 4 to 5 students per class, but I'm comfortable with it like this the first time. We'll see what happens after that. And I'm thinking of maybe doing a flex class with the bread making. So we'll see what happens with that, because I'm only doing classes during the day. I'm not doing evening classes. And so that means that, you know, there might be some people in other places with other time zones that want to do the classes, but because of the times of my classes, they can't. So I think I might try a flex class, but I haven't put that together yet. That's a little bit of, I heard it's a lot of work. So we'll see what happens with that. It's an interesting way to do it, but some people have done it and they've really liked it. But these are my classes for OUTSCHOOL. And for my piano, I do have 2 different levels of ages. So I have like a younger kids class and an older kids class. So I have 3 kids in the younger kids, and then I have 1 in the older kids class. So I think that's really perfect because I'm just kind of learning myself. So I'm really thankful for that. And since I'm charging, I kind of looked at what other teachers are charging, like a piano teacher with a piano degree and everything. They're charging a lot of money. So mine, I'm charging a lower price, and I'm doing a little different style. And so I'm thinking that might be something that would attract people, like a lower price and a little bit different style of lessons. And so I'm happy with it the way it is. So that's my OUTSCHOOL. And I just wanted to report that my weather has been very good these days. So we have been enjoying the nice sunshine. Oh, I love it. And vitamin D. So yesterday we got out. I got a nice walk in, and I am very out of shape because I kind of quit my walking every day. I kind of got a little discouraged. So it's time to get back into it, time to get back out walking and enjoying the weather. And I wanted to let you know that I did get some seeds. I don't know if you guys have seen these ads. Maybe it's just me because I talk about gardening. But these are seeds that I saw advertised on Facebook, and they're heirloom. This is the heirloom vegetable kit, 40 seed packet. So I didn't know what to expect. 40 seeds. Okay, so that means 40 different kinds of seeds. So this is the booklet that comes with it, with all of the different seed types and everything. Wow. And it gives you germination tips, practical gardening tips, and then all of the different types of seeds that I'm going to have. So the package was just a little smaller than I expected, but look at these packages. This is broccoli. These are little tiny packages. So I have 40 packages. Peas. So this is going to be fun. Lima beans. So it was kind of a little different than I expected. I'm going to, what do I want? This is right here. This is what I use sometimes for my knitting classes. I will put a whiteboard right here, and I kind of bring the camera down like this. So here's all my seeds. Isn't that so awesome? This is, Vala Wonder Pepper. So you guys probably have seen beefsteak tomatoes. These are heirloom seeds. So these are the kind of seeds that you're supposed to be able to plant and harvest the seeds, and you're supposed to be able to, sunflowers. Like some of the seeds, they are taken, I don't know, they're changed so that you can't harvest the seeds and actually replant them like the next year. Collards. Okay, here's my pumpkin seeds. Rutabaga. So these are supposed to be really good seeds. Cayenne pepper and broccoli, cucumbers, pepper. Okay, this whole thing I think cost me like $30 for all these seeds. And they're small packages, but the ones in the store that you get are the bigger packages. Celery. Ooh, look at these tiny celery seeds. That's what's fascinating, just looking at the different types of seeds for the different types of products. This is red cherry tomato. And so you can't necessarily, like, I know the dollar store has seeds, but I've heard that if you try to harvest the seeds, that you might not be able to replant them, even though they're seeds, because they're kind of, I don't know, genetically modified or something. So these are supposed to be able to be replanted. And so this is the package that I got on Facebook, and it says GMO, heirloom, non-GMO, heirloom, non-hybrid. And so I'm going to be planting some seeds. And we had a gardening class last week with some of our GMO, non-GMO, genetically modified. So these are non-GMO. And we had a gardening class at our church to just invite people from the community, and we talked about gardening. And this one guy, he's an expert gardener, and he suggested that you would get, if, for me, I think part of my problem was the seeds. My other problem was the dirt. I have space, but trying to get that dirt the way it needs to be. Now, he suggested that if you get 5-gallon buckets and you put in good soil, and you can just plant your plants right in your 5-gallon buckets. It was interesting because yesterday I went to Walmart and I bought some dirt. I bought some buckets. They were $3 for new 5-gallon buckets. And so I got a few of those, and and it was funny because on the checkout, this lady that I was talking to, she said her husband did buckets, and he kind of did them on tables, she said, so that he would have them higher up so that he could go by and tend to them without bending over. So, and that would also work if you don't have a lot of space, if you don't have a lot of property to put things in. For me, it's like I have a lot of roots and a bad kind of soil there. So, and I've tried many times to grow. And my one daughter, for homeschool, she was home. She worked really hard, and she had a really good garden in there. She planted zucchini, cucumbers, and a bunch of different things. And it was a lot of work. She did do it. She did a great job. That was the only year that we actually had a decent garden. So, but I need to do better this year. And so I'm going to do some in the buckets. And my friend also suggested if you don't want to go out and buy a whole bunch of buckets, you could also get, those fabric grocery bags. You could also plant things in there. I actually saw a picture on Pinterest of a gardener who took and made like these poles, made some poles that you could hang things from, kind of like curtain rods. And he put a bunch of them in a row. And he took the plastic grocery bags that you go get all the time, and he filled them with dirt, and he actually did his plants in those and hung them on the poles. So I guess that would be a little bit of a risk because they could rip. But where there's a will, there's a way, right? I don't want to spend a ton of money trying to build a garden. The whole idea of a garden is that it's economical. But the other idea of the garden right now is learning to be somewhat self-sufficient and to learn to grow your own food. And to the program that we're trying to do, we have a few patriots in our community, and we want to grow garden, and we want to can our own food and try to kind of have a stash of food and resources in, because you never know what's going to happen. What happened to Texas, all of a sudden they were smacked with some really weird weather and they had to adjust. So trying to do things that are going to help us to withstand different things that might come along our way. And so one of those is gardening, getting back to gardening, not just assuming that we're always going to have, the store and the access to the store and all of that. So that's one way to prepare, and also to teach the kids and to teach other people in the community about, we could have our own food if we want to. We can grow our own food. We can live off the land if we need to. Even if you have a small space, you can make it work. And so I have actually a pretty decent sized yard. It's not the yard that's the problem. It's not the space, the land. It's more like the dirt. Make sure I get the seeds. And I also have a lot of animals that eat my stuff. So all of that it's really not the actual growing process that would be a problem. And the other thing is to have a good source of water. Like, say the power goes out and you don't have your access to your water. What are you going to do? If you have a garden, it's going to die if you can't water it. So having a good way to irrigate without depending on electricity and stuff, that's also important. So that's, kind of like Little House on the Prairie days. You have to adjust, work with what you have. And that's, if you have kids, it's a good lesson to teach them for the future. I grew up in the industrial age, we just bought everything. But I think we need to kind of get back to, organic living and just being more self-sufficient. And so what I am doing right now, I am also, stocking up. Like if I see canned corn on sale, I grab some, so that I have a stash of food that I'm not like desperate if something happens that, I can't get to the store. And I haven't really stocked up like that as a regular living skill. So that's what I'm doing for, the spring is about kind of doing projects, trying to get things going. I'm going to plant some seeds. And then, I'm going to keep a lookout for people that maybe they've already planted some seeds. Maybe they have some tomato plants they want to sell me, or sometimes people have plenty and they want to give them away. My thing is I need to find also, I don't want to have to buy all of my soil in bags because I feel like that would be more expensive than getting maybe somebody to drop by a bunch of dirt for me. So I'm going to look into that too. So go back to what people used to do. I have been preparing similarly, just bought my first power bank just in case we need power. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, we have like a generator, but that does takes gas. Like we have to have a couple, we can get a couple things full of gas, but that's only going to last as long as the gas is available, right? So everything is something to think about, and just being prepared for what could happen, what might happen, and growing your own food is always a good idea. Plus you save money, and it's really good, rewarding, and healthy. It's healthier for you too, to eat your own food and grow your own food. I mean, I get canned beans. There's just like no flavor. So the other thing is, I went to the store yesterday and I saw that they had fresh beans on sale. They were like a whole big package for like $2.50. I was thinking, why can't I just get a whole bunch of those, bring them home and can those? That would work too. I mean, you don't have to only can what you grow. You could find resources from other places and you could can that. So just stocking up, and canned food lasts, they say, a year to 2 years, so you might want to rotate, have some food and just kind of maybe put the dates on them, or have a rotating system so that you're not stocking up so much that, you waste your money and stuff like that. So those are the things I had to talk about today. And does anybody have anything interesting to mention or ask? Need to keep insulin cooled so my refrigerator that can run off the power bank would be delivered today. Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that's important. So that's something to think about too. And that's the thing I like about canning, is that you don't have to have a freezer or refrigerator. Like, that's not going to go bad if the power does go out. So I do have a freezer in the basement, and I have a nice refrigerator. But if the power goes out, that's the one thing that we do try to keep going, is the refrigerator and the freezer. But yeah. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, because I have things I have to do today. And I think I'll throw in a load of laundry before I have an OUTSCHOOL class, 2 OUTSCHOOL classes today, but they only have 1 student each right now. But I'm hoping that maybe I would get more students in those. But one's a little fun math class and one is a knitting class, and they fly by. So I did have a class on Saturdays at 1 p.m. for knitters, and I kind of moved them on to a weekday class. So then I don't have that mid-afternoon on Saturday to do a class. But it was my favorite class. So I was really glad that I could adjust that and keep the students. So I just kind of put them into different spots, and I'm keeping the students, and we're going to continue. I have a really great knitting class where the kids are knitters. I also have a finger knitting class, and I think I taught some of my friends how to finger knit. We make these long chains. And so now I'm in the market, if you guys have any ideas what to do with these long strands. So this is what we did this week. We made this circle, and I'm going to go ahead and finish it up. And then I suggested they could make a dream catcher. They were talking about, they're young kids, and they were talking about that they need a dream catcher. So they have some bad dreams. My heart goes out to them. I used to have a lot of bad dreams. I still have bad dreams. I still have some bad dreams. I've had a few. Not lately. I got the My Pillow. I wanted to make a video on that too, but this is my dream. This can be a dream catcher, or you could use it as, like, put it on your table. You could use it as a wall hanging. You could do something fancy with it. So yeah, I may do another video about this, but I do have the My Pillow. We got the sheets from the My Pillow guy and the towels. So he has really good stuff, good quality stuff, and I really like his spirit and his just desire to help us. So, yeah. All right. So, guys, thank you so much for coming, and I appreciate your support. And those of you who are watching after the live, thank you also for your support. I have a few friends that will let me know they watched the replay. And so this is a really good time for me to do this. And on a Saturday kind of gets me going. And so thank you so much. And, oh my goodness, I forgot to mention my knitting class, knitting meetup, March 26th at 10 a.m. It's in Eventbrite. It's also in the Vipkid events community section. So if you have not signed up for that and you would like to come with us, I think Kathy Kelly's all signed up. I don't know if Lisa, if you were signed up or not, but if you want to come, it would be Friday, March 26th at 10 a.m. And let me know if you can't come, but you would like to come and a different time would work for you. We kind of decided that, once a month would be good. But if you have another suggestion, just let me know. Okay, just type it in the chat box or reach out to me on the Messenger and Facebook, whatever works for you. So thank you so much for coming, and I'll see you guys around. And happy daylight savings time tomorrow. Bye. Have a great day.